Massive 49ers news activated. They've gone out and signed or plan to sign a future Hall of Famer. Yes, I would say the biggest name on the wide receiver free agent market this year, Mike Evans, the longtime Tampa Bay Buccaneer, who is going to join the greats of this game in Canton when all is said and done. He might be finishing his career with the 49ers. Reportedly 3 years, $81 million. That comes out to $27 million per year for Mike Evans. And that is essentially the money that the 49ers were able to save with Brandon Ayuk. Remember, Brandon Ayuk decided to forego $27 million of guarantees for 2026. So the 49ers able to reallocate them to Mike Evans. Now, the concern here is that Mike Evans is 32 years old. The concern is that his snap counts have decreased over the course of the past 4 seasons. It has gone from 1,003 snaps 4 seasons ago to 973 to 707 to 357. Injuries last season included a fractured collarbone for Mike Evans. There are big concerns about his health moving forward. But if he can rally the troops, be available for the 49ers, and put his world-class skill set on display, then this can be the perfect target for Brock Purdy. We've always talked about big weapons for Brock Purdy. He threw to big guys at Iowa State and was very successful. He's been very successful throwing to George Kittle, who's 6'4". Mike Evans, 6'5", 230. The 49ers have needed an X receiver. Mike Evans is that X. Mike Evans perfectly fits into that X role. He replaces Brandon Ayuk with, I think, you look at 357 snaps last year, that's 357 more than Brandon Ayuk gave the 49ers last year. Of course, you want Mike Evans to play more than that. Of course, you want that fountain of youth. But think about this. Mike Evans has shown that he can do this at a consistently, meteorically high level for a long time. The first 11 seasons of his NFL career, at least 1,000 receiving yards. In fact, there are only 2 players in NFL history who have posted 11 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons, and both are 49ers. Mike Evans will officially be a 49er on Wednesday. Jerry Rice being 1, Mike Evans is number 2. Wow. So we talked about the 49ers going big at wide receiver to solve, I think, their biggest weakness. The 49ers' biggest weakness was the lack of separation last season. Mike Evans is an elite separator. Mike Evans is an elite contested catch guy. Brock Purdy likes to feather some of those passes over the initial coverage, right? Over the linebackers, in front of the safeties, in front of the corners. Brock Purdy's got excellent touch on some of those longer throws. He's been aggressive downfield. Mike Evans is the type of receiver that can gobble up those passes. But I mean, this as an X wide receiver, that's the split end. That is somebody who's going to be lined up on the line of scrimmage. He's not going to be a flanker. He's not going to be coming a lot in motion. He's going to be somebody who has to beat press coverage, who has to threaten the best cornerback on the other team. And when you talk about corners in the NFC West, that now includes Trent McDuffie. Jalen Watson also signed with the Rams today. There is firepower at the cornerback position in the NFC West. And Mike Evans is somebody who has beaten the best corners in the league for well over a decade. Diomedar Lenore, very excited about Mike Evans. He just posted on social media. We'll get all this up on the screen. I've got a whole mess of stuff up on the screen, but we have a lot to break down. I can't wait until this contract comes out. Mike Evans, age 32. So this is for age 32, age 33, and age 34. 3 years, $81 million. Remember, Ayuk was on a deal 4 years, $120 million. So actually a little bit cheaper than the Ayuk deal, but the 49ers hope a whole heck of a lot more reliable and bigger than Brandon Ayuk. That's another thing. 6'5", 230. This is the biggest target that the 49ers have signed at the wide receiver position maybe ever. Have they ever had a 6'6" wide receiver? Terrell Owens was 6'2", 6'3". I mean, 6'5", Mike Evans has real length, and I think that is something that can be leveraged by Brock Purdy. All right, let's get this up on the screen. First, we got to get the Diameter Lenore tweet up. Mike is going to be feeding me some good information, but then we're going to see exactly where Mike Evans slots into the 49ers lineup. This is the tweet from Demo himself. Now we can go to the 49ers 90-man depth chart and show you guys exactly where Evans is going to fit. It is going to be a cut and dry copy and paste into San Francisco's lineup. Hey, we could even make Mike Evans a foundational pillar. So you talk about receiver one is typically the X. The 49ers did not want Ricky Pearsall playing that X receiver position. I think Ricky is more of a Z receiver. And we'll even put this, we'll even delineate between the X, the Z, and the F receiver. We'll put wide receiver 2 is going to be the Z. Wide receiver 3, the Z is more of the flanker. The F receiver is going to be more of the slot receiver. So we have the X, the Z, and the F. The 49ers now can move DeMarcus Robinson into a second string role. They can move Ricky Pearsall into the Z role, and they can move Mike Evans into the X role. Now, you guys know that I highlight foundational pillars in yellow. So I think Mike Evans, this is a future Hall of Famer. He's a foundational pillar of this football team. The 49ers now have a new foundational pillar. They have gone out and they've signed an A-lister. This is for everybody who's saying that the 49ers didn't want to spend money. They make a massive splash here for Mike Evans. There are risks. We get it. He's 32 years old, but he's one of the great receivers to ever play this game. And when he's been healthy, he still has been very effective. The hope for the 49ers now is that Ricky Pearsall can also develop into a foundational pillar by the time that his contract is up. We're only 2 years into the Ricky Pearsall experiment for the 49ers. And when he's been healthy, he has been very, very good. So Evans at the X, he can block as well because he's a big body, but I think he's perfect for the type of quarterback that Brock Purdy is. Pearsall at the Z, and then the F, the third receiver position. Well, that's all going to depend on how the 49ers shake things out. But I think that, and now it's 3 years, $60.4 million. So wait, this deal is even a better deal. It's probably worth up to 81. Mike, where'd you get that $81 million number a little bit earlier? Let me know where you got the 81 million so I could cross-check this. But if it's 3 years, 60 million for Mike Evans, that's a bargain in and of itself because they're not using all of that. Yeah, they're not reallocating all of the Brandon Ayuk money to Mike Evans. They're only allocating 60 million, which is only 20 million per year. So the deal even better for San Francisco. Let's get the text title changed down here at the bottom of the screen. 49ers sign future Hall of Fame wide receiver Mike Evans. Got to get that text title there. Yeah, but that 81 million, there was some misquoted information. So it is 3 years, 60.4 million for Mike Evans. That, I think, consider that Cooper Kupp went 3 years, 45 million. That's 15 million per year with the Seattle Seahawks last year. We talked about Mike Evans in a Cooper Kupp plus range. Evans is more accomplished over the course of his NFL career than Cooper Kupp. I think, and Mike Evans can play the X. Cooper Kupp is not playing the X receiver, especially at this point of his career. Kupp has always been more of a flanker type, more of a slot type, somebody who dominated out of the slot for the Rams in that 2021 season. But the X receiver, that takes a special, large physical skill set. There are only a few guys on the planet that can play the X at a superstar level. Mike Evans is one of them. So when the Seahawks signed Cooper Kupp for $15 million per year last year, to me, that set a baseline price for Mike Evans. Aging player, somebody who's obviously past his prime. There are some availability concerns, but he's earned the right to be at least a $15 million per year player. The fact that he can play the X though, and the fact that the ceiling is higher than Cooper Kupp's, my thinking was 15 to 20. That would be the range that the 49ers are happy with. So we've got 3 years, $60 million for Mike Evans, not 3 years, $81 million, as we said earlier. the 49ers with a financial commitment that I think is very, very reasonable to Mike Evans at $20 million per year. Now, here you look at the 49ers' larger salary cap picture, and I could even put that up on the screen right now. Why don't we go to the 49ers salary cap here for 2026? We should slot Mike Evans in there at the receiver spot. We could even move everybody down one with Ricky Pearsall now at wide receiver 2. Mike Evans. Now, we're only going to get a salary cap estimate at this point for Mike Evans, but I think that at this price, San Francisco can probably keep his salary cap hit down 8 to 10 million this year. Maybe we do, I don't know, 10 for this season. For the roster builder, which I could put up on the screen here in the second, I probably had a higher number. I probably had 15. And who knows, maybe the 49ers don't backload it the same way that they normally do. But at a $10 million estimate for Mike Evans, the 49ers would be sitting still at about $30 million in salary cap space. They haven't run a Bosa restructure yet. That's something that they can do to open up some cap room. Obviously, they're still working on the Trent Williams contract, and that's something that could lower his salary cap hit if they get that done. Mike points out that if the 49ers, and Mike, great name, Mike, if the 49ers have signed Mike Evans or are planning to sign Mike Evans, maybe that suggests that they have to push some more money in to get this Trent Williams thing resolved, because Mike Evans has a very short window here at the end of his career at age 32. He's going for a last hurrah with the 49ers. So that short window at the end of his career, maybe that can pair really well with the window that Trent Williams has at the end of his career. You've got Mike Evans under contract for 3 years. Trent Williams wants to play for 3 more years. Trent is entering his age 38 season with the 49ers. So maybe just give Trent Williams a 3-year extension. If Trent is okay with 3 years of team control, marry it to Mike Evans' contract and let 2 future Hall of Famers protect Brock Purdy and catch the ball from Brock Purdy, one of the best quarterbacks in the entire game. Remember, the biggest problem for the 49ers over the course of the past 2 seasons offensively has been wide receiver separation. The biggest weakness in 2024, they ranked number 32, dead last of all teams in average separation at the time of catch or incompletion. So it only improved to number 24 in 2025. We've seen the Ayuk drama. They're almost certainly going to release him with a post-June 1st designation here on Wednesday. If they don't do that, maybe they're holding out for a little while longer, but I don't see the reason why. You've got his replacement, Mike Evans, on the roster now. And then you look at the rest of the receiver room and you say, okay, well, how do the 49ers operate? I think Pearsall is going to be great as a Z in this offense. I know that they've got to figure out that third slot option. They've got Demarcus Robinson as depth for any of the positions. Watkins and Cowing, I think, are going to be in major competition at that third spot. And we'll see. I have Junior Bergen projected to make the roster right now, but if the 49ers re-sign Sky Moore or get a return specialist, he could be slated for the practice squad again. Mike Evans' decision to leave Tampa was not about money. The Bucs were aggressive in their pursuit and presented what was said to be a very strong offer. It came down to a desire for a new challenge as Evans enters the last years of his career. And yes, translation, he feels much better about Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy than he does about Baker Mayfield and whoever the hell is going to be calling plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Purdy is one of the best quarterbacks in the game. Purdy draws top talent. Mike Evans is top talent. Now it's a matter of staying healthy if you're Mike Evans. You've got to stay healthy, stay available for the 49ers, but he can play that X receiver position, and he can play it at an extremely high level. Only 2 receivers in NFL history have posted 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons, both soon-to-be 49ers. One already has been a 49er. That was Jerry Rice. The other is Mike Evans. If you want to look at Mike's NFL career, here are the statistics. All the way from 2014 to 2025. Look at all those 1,000-yard seasons for Mike Evans. And look at the EPA per target. Positive in every single season. Now, if the 49ers really want to go crazy with adding some big targets, Charlie Kolar the 6'6" tight end of the Baltimore Ravens. He's slated to be a free agent. He's been teammates with Brock Purdy in the past. We'll see if they do anything at the running back 2 position, and we'll see what other work the 49ers have to do at wide receiver. Now, another big ticket potential free agent for San Francisco would be the defensive tackle John Franklin Myers. A day with Mike Evans and John Franklin Myers, well, those would be 2 major splashes for the 49ers. The team, many were saying, does not spend money. Well, they set the franchise record with how much money they spent last year. They were just allocating the cash at their own guys this year because they needed to go outside the building because of the defection of Brandon Ayuk. The 49ers head and grab Mike Evans. Look, a new foundational pillar for the 49ers, and he is awesome in the red zone. I mean, 6'5", 230 in the red zone. That's the most important part of the field. You have to convert those opportunities. It obviously gives the 49ers, if all else fails, a jump ball opportunity because Mike Evans can go ahead and grab those passes. Wow. Any questions here on the Mike Evans signing? I'm opening up. We're going to be writing an article up here on the San Francisco Standard. The 49ers have managed to, what I think is really, really interesting here and notable here is that Evans obviously took, I think, less money than he could have had. The Buccaneers made a very competitive offer. This reportedly did not come to money. It shows that Brock Purdy is a destination quarterback. I mean, that's at the top of the list here of takeaways, is that Mike Evans came out with a list a few days ago of things that he wanted satisfied. Mike, if you can find that list and if you could send it my way, one of the things was that he wanted to play with a really good quarterback. Mike Evans knows a lot better than your average Twitter X poster about what good quarterback play is. And if he has entrusted the final years of his career to Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers, that speaks a very, very loud statement. If he's entrusted the final years of his career to this team, to this offense, to this quarterback at a below market rate price, you could argue that the receiver market was set to go even crazier with Alec Pierce making $28.5 million earlier today. I think that is in and of itself a loud, loud statement. Mike, those 4 pillars or 5 things that Mike Evans posted or somebody posted on his behalf a few days ago would be great right now. What number is Mike Evans going to wear? He wore number 13 during his time with Tampa Bay. Is he still going to wear number 13? I don't think so, because that's what Brock Purdy has with the 49ers. He's not going to wear the 80. The only other guy with 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons, Jerry Rice, obviously that number's retired. That's untouchable. We'll see what Evans wears with San Francisco. But boy, what an illustrious career for Mike Evans. Now, the issue is making sure that he's over the injuries. And last year, the collarbone was the thing that I think killed him for the season. It happened fairly early against the Detroit Lions. I remember watching that game on Monday Night Football. He had also suffered a concussion in that game, so he got beaten up last year. And it's been part of a diminishing snap count for Mike Evans over the course of the past 4 seasons. But the 49ers hope that he can find that fountain of youth and stay healthy for them and start delivering the kind of numbers that he did over the first 11 years of his NFL career, all illustrated right here. Mike Evans' criteria for his next team: a QB he believes in, a chance at a Super Bowl, a top-shelf offensive coordinator, and promise of high-volume touches. The high-volume touch part, I think that, as the X for the 49ers, they've badly needed an X receiver. He's going to get his share of attention. And I think that, if the 49ers play this right, and we'll see how they architect the rest of this offense, if the 49ers play this right, then you will find a sweet spot as far as workload for Mike Evans so that it's not ridiculous because the guy is 32 years old, right? And he has had a diminishing snap load over the course of the past few years due to injuries. So yeah, you want to satisfy him with enough of a workload to where he can be a major contributor and he could do what he needs to do at the X position. But you also don't want to work him to death since he is 32 years old. So I think that Mike Evans realizes that his longevity is at stake. I think that he realizes that the team's title chances will rely on them spreading the football around. Brock Purdy is a very good quarterback who's shown the ability to spread the ball around. And I mean, he leads the NFL in QBR in every single advanced metric since he joined in that 2022 season, coming out of Iowa State in the seventh round of the draft, pick number 262. Purdy's been at the very top of the game when it comes to distributing the football. And I think that the 49ers and Mike Evans are both very confident that they can strike a formula that works. Got the link here. I got to retweet this from Jeremy Fowler. Big news for the 49ers. This is Mike Evans gives Brock Purdy the endorsement that many 49ers fans themselves are unable to give their own quarterback on social media. Quite remarkable, if you ask me. But I'll take Mike Evans' word for it instead of the rando on X. People excited in the comments section? What's Mike Evans' salary cap hit? We don't know yet, but we know it's $20 million per year. And the salary cap hit is likely going to be, I think they could probably keep it around $10 million in that first year because they're probably going to backload this deal. You saw me at the Denver airport and you didn't say what's up? I think I was in a hurry probably, but you should have said what's up. I'll say what's up to you right now. Thanks for the comment. I was definitely in the Denver airport in the middle of a blizzard on Friday. Next up, Trent Williams for the 49ers, or maybe John Franklin Myers. We'll see. Yeah, Tyler Linderbaum signed with the Raiders, but $27 million a year, way too much. That marked a 50% raise at the top of the center market. It had been Creed Humphrey at $18 million, Linderbaum $27 million. Absolutely wild increase of that market. Meanwhile, the 49ers get Mike Evans for $20 million a year. Seems like a decent deal for the 49ers considering where we thought the prices might lie. I thought that he might escape that $20 million range in the 49ers. Some reports indicated that he had been offered over 27 a year. Maybe the Bucs went crazy and offered that amount of money. We'll find out, I'm sure, down the line. And he would rather just play with Brock Purdy and company. Anyway, good stuff. Mike Evans, the newest 49ers receiver, future Hall of Famer, has made history alongside Jerry Rice. Everyone enjoy the 49ers' latest acquisition.